We've been in and out of the bomb shelters incessantly. I'm fully expecting the alarms to go off again soon because we've started to get reports on the phone that tonight there's expected to be another barrage of attack. Hi, this is Robert Stearns, and thank you for signing in for this week's very unusual Israel Frontline update. Obviously, I'm not coming to you from our normal studios. In fact, this is the farthest thing from it. All of our equipment got sent back yesterday. I am in Jerusalem, and we are in the midst of Operation Rising Lion. I was supposed to leave the day before yesterday. All of my equipment went out with my producer, and I am here left during the opening days of this war. So thank you for dropping by. If you're new to the channel, for 32 years, I have been traveling to the land of Israel and the surrounding nations, and I just want to bring you a perspective. I'm not a journalist, I'm not a politician, I'm not a governmental leader. I'm a faith leader who also loves humanity and wants to see peace for this region. And so I just bring you firsthand updates from the land. So let's dive into it this week on the update. Early morning on June the 13th, in fact, it was just about 3:30 a.m. All the alarms went off here in my hotel, and we became aware that Operation Rising Lion had been enacted against Iran. Now, we've got to look at the context of this. For the past 46 years, the radical ayatollahs of Iran have increasingly been causing Iran to be isolated from the rest of the modern world, save for its alliance with China, which is basically founded upon the fact that they supply China's oil, and then other rogue nations like North Korea, Venezuela. This axis of evil, this axis of attacking the West. And so Iran has, for the past 40 some years, been actively espousing just anti-human rhetoric. I mean, anti-human diatribe. They don't hide anything. They say death to Israel, death to America, death to the infidels. Their own people suffer under this intense theocratic death cult that glorifies jihad and glorifies suicide bombers. Well, added to that over the past 20 years has been the uranium enrichment program leading to Iran having a nuclear bomb. The West has warned them over and over and over again that this is unacceptable. And finally, just a few days ago, even the United Nations, which many would argue has been an enabling force to Iran, the UN came out and publicly admitted that Iran had crossed over the red line in terms of not fulfilling their agreements. And so Israel acted. The sites hit included the Natanz and Fordow nuclear facilities, missile bases in Kermanshah, command and control centers, military housing, and senior Iranian officials who were targeted. It's very important to note that Israel targets military bases, military facilities, or the uranium nuclear enrichment plants, whereas on the counterattack, Iran is targeting Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, civilian population centers, not military targets, but civilian targets. This is par for the course of what we've seen from the Islamic world. There have been close to 20 senior Iranian military leaders who have been wiped out. This is especially encouraging because the high-level military leadership has been eliminated. So that's going to cause them to scramble in terms of their own internal leadership structure, and perhaps give second thought to those who are next in line. You know, is this the career path that they want to take? Close to 20 officials, high-ranking officials, have been eliminated. The strike continued throughout the evening, and then, of course, Iran struck back. There was more than 100 drones that were sent. Really encouragingly, many of those drones, not most, many of them were shot down by Jordan and over Jordanian territory. And so this is encouraging because Israel has a very tenuous relationship with Jordan, but it seems that Jordan is more scared of Iran than they dislike Israel, right? So there's this cooperation between Jordan and Israel that is helpful in moments like this. Then by midday, there were up to 150 missiles, ballistic missiles, that were shot from Iran into Israel. I was here for all of this. We've been in and out of the bomb shelters incessantly. I'm fully expecting the alarms to go off again soon, because we've started to get reports on the phone that tonight there's expected to be another barrage of attack. But of the 150, it's estimated that less than 10, maybe only 5, got through the defenses. So that was really, really encouraging. Israel's Iron Dome, along with U.S. assistance, shot down the vast majority of these ballistic missiles. Sadly, some of the missiles got through and did hit residential buildings. There were several dozen who were injured in Tel Aviv, and reports are now that 3 were killed. That is indeed tragic and awful and terrible. On the scope of it, when you're thinking of 150 ballistic missiles and 100 drones, 250 incoming attacks, it's truly extraordinary that only 3 people were killed. And again, it's tragic that they were killed, but we thank God that there was not a greater loss of life. Iran began, again, ongoing attacks, but these have seemed smaller so far. There has not been nearly today, the last 24 hours, there's not been nearly the level of alert. The first day it was really about every hour, every 90 minutes, we were summoned back to the bomb shelter. And today it's been hours since the last bomb shelter warnings, although it does seem to be picking up again, because we're starting to get alerts on our phone, although not yet a call to go to the bomb shelter. Iran has written a letter to the United Nations Supreme Council, High Council, saying that this is a declaration of war. That's very interesting language for them, because it puts us in another framework. These countries regularly have attacks and skirmishes back and forth, but those are less than an outright declaration of war. So Iran saying that it is taking Israel's attack as an act of war ramps up the level of expected response from Iran, and then counter response from Israel. President Trump has expressed unwavering support for Israel, and clearly President Trump gave Iran a 60-day window in which to negotiate something that would put an end to this, and Iran chose not to. Prime Minister Netanyahu has described the strikes as operations that will continue for as long as is needed to complete the task of fending off the threat of annihilation against the state of Israel. The Prime Minister and others are also urging the Iranian people, and can I tell you, I personally, we've worked with the Iranian resistance. I've spoken at the United Nations many times with members of the Iranian resistance, with my wonderful friend, the late, amazing Senator Joseph Lieberman. I've stood there with Senator Sam Brownback and many other leaders against the regime in Iran. And there are many, many Iranians around the world and in Iran who want to see this evil regime overthrown. So maybe now is the time for that. So we're encouraging you to continue to become involved and informed in all that's happening. If you're just dropping by for the first time, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button. You need an unbiased report from the front lines. And that's what I seek to provide. I am not here to give one side of the story. This week, I spent an hour and a half. I will not, for their security, give the name, but I spent an hour and a half with one of the leading Palestinian figures in Judea and Samaria, what's known as the West Bank. Top Palestinian leader. We seek to bring you all sides of the situation here in a very unique perspective. So if you're interested in events in Israel, in the greater Middle East, and you believe that they are important to our world, I invite you to join us here every single week for the Israel Frontline Update. I'll come to you again next week. Until then, be safe and keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem.